I'm here today with Professor Jeffrey Sachs from Columbia University to talk about his new book, A New Foreign Policy, Beyond American Exceptionalism. Thanks for joining us, Jeff.
Great to be with you.
The American foreign policy, we can feel the tremors every day of what's happening in China, concerns about Europe, problems with Russia. Why did you wade into this water as an economist? Why is this important?
We are at a crossroads. In 1941, Henry Luce declared the American century. In 1992, when the Soviet Union collapsed, we were the Colossus, the new Rome. In 1992, when the Soviet Union collapsed, we were the Colossus, the new Rome. In 1992, when the Soviet Union collapsed, we were the Colossus, the new Rome, the sole superpower of the world. And I'm arguing it was a lot of illusion. The idea that there is one power that bestrides the world, especially one country with 4.4% of the world's population presuming to lead the world, to be the superpower, is very naive and very dangerous in my view. In essential terms, it is this word exceptionalism, which has been repeated throughout American history, that we are the exceptional country. That at this point, I think, makes us a danger to ourselves. We have ended up so vastly overextended. Military bases in more than 70 countries around the world, more than 700 bases around the world. Wars that are dragging on endlessly from Afghanistan, the violence throughout the Middle East, Libya, all our drone and covert operations in Africa, the Middle East, and elsewhere. We are a danger to ourselves now by taking this idea of exceptionalism in such an anachronistic way when it no longer applies. We're continuing still on the basic idea that America must dominate, that we are the exceptional country. I think if you step back, and especially if take a not American mindset, but look at America, the most notable thing for me is, as a society, we seem completely incapable right now of solving even one problem. We're just not solving anything. We have falling life expectancy in the United States. Unbelievable. We have, of course, the opioid epidemic. We have a healthcare system that is twice the cost of any other healthcare system in the world. Yes. We're at perpetual war in the Middle East. We have the highest income inequality in American history right now. We have crumbling parts of our infrastructure. We know it's been falling apart for a long time. But administration after administration recently, we haven't been able to build 1 mile of fast rail. We're patching at best, but not designing anything for the 21st century. Yeah. And you step back and you say, that is really a peculiar political system. Put aside all the debates about what kind of system the U.S. Congress or parliamentary system, or just ask a question: can a society address real problems and move to solve them? Yep. And I would say America has been unable to do that for probably about 30 years now. But I have to say also, with President Obama, he gave a lot of speeches about infrastructure too. He didn't get 1 mile of fast rail built in the United States. He made a stimulus in 2009, 2010, during the financial crisis a decade ago, but it was a blip. Spend more, spend less. End of story. Where was the structural change? Where were the long-term solutions? We don't have that, and yet we're the #1 country. We run the world. We're now dictating through the international financial system. Sanctions on this one, sanctions on that one. You can't use the dollar. We'll punish you if you go to the international criminal court, and so on. As if we're running the show globally. Yeah. And okay, for a moment when a bully talks like that, people in other countries stand back, but it's more like the cartoon character that ran off the cliff, doesn't realize it, thinks everything's fine, and then, and that is really what this book is saying. We need a conceptual rethink of where we are in a world where the American century, for basically the reasons of the spread of knowledge, technology, capacity around the world, means we're not running the show. Mm-hmm. Where the spread of problems around the world means, hey, we better cooperate. And we really need to rethink what are our priorities. We remain with the institutional priorities of this quasi-imperial state of ours, which overthrows governments or puts sanctions or dictates to others what to do, but it's not going to work this way. One of the most ridiculous things that we're all subjected to in the U.S. Is the endless stream of Wall Street Journal editorials warning us don't become like Europe, especially not like Scandinavia. And they love to run anti-Sweden stories and so on. Yes. If you have the chance, and I would say to anybody watching, go to Stockholm or Oslo or Copenhagen, take a look around and look at that horrible crisis of these countries. The fact is, these are amazing places. Actually, unlike our infrastructure, the escalators and elevators work. The roads are quite beautiful. The airports are gleaming. The idea of environmentally friendly design is confirmed. They're not falling apart. They're kind of gorgeous. And they enjoy, and every worker enjoys, 5 or 6 weeks summer paid vacation as a matter of every worker's right. So the starting point when you have that visiting delegation, these are people living very, very comfortably. They're living in societies that actually are working functionally as integrated societies. Of course, they have the stresses. They have the arguments about migration, about refugees. Yes. That's yes. for sure. But these are places that are working, functioning, investing, and they're living in the 21st century, actually, yes. because they know the future technologies and they're aiming for those and they're making changes. And what always impressed me about those countries is they're really market-oriented. They're not socialist in the idea
administrative,
of
right.
state ownership and so forth. But exactly what you said, they take care of people sensibly. Everyone gets health care, everyone gets quality education, paid leave time, vacation time, and so forth, so that as technologies improve, even in the face of all this global competition, quality of life keeps getting better and on a very broad base. Now they're arguing, well, we want it for us, we don't want to take in more migrants or refugees, so forth. That debate is understandable, but the quality of life is exceptionally good pretty much across the board, actually. Yes. In the U.S., we are still a dynamic society because we're still capable of putting new technologies in place. And it's fair to say the America invented the internet and it invented the new world of apps, and it did a lot of things. But we do not look after each other at all anymore. But we do not look after each other at all anymore. But we do not look after each other at all anymore. The Republican Party, by the way, though I'm not especially partisan, but the Republican Party is on one idea and one idea only, and that is close down government, whether it's regulation, environmentalism, or basic support for basic needs of people. Cut taxes, and by the way, now they cut taxes no matter that we're at a nearly $1 trillion a year deficit and now they want another round of tax cuts, okay, we can head to fiscal bankruptcy as fast as they want, but how blind. So that ideology, no, we don't have a society. We have us, the winners, and be damned, the losers, is not going to work. But we lost the vocabulary of a society that hangs together.
Yes.
And if we don't have that, we are not going to hang together.
To my mind, I look at the work that you've always done, but particularly in a book like this, Stepping Forward, you're an excellent example to my young scholars. You're taking on subjects that are important. You're taking on subjects with rigorous economics. You yourself have done a lot of work in Africa and other places so that your, your sensitivity to the challenges of our time is always one of your formidable talents. So I just want to thank you for being so vigilant and providing a good example to our young scholars. And I look forward to having everyone read this book.